The morning sun rose gently over Colony World Eden, casting long shadows across the wheat fields that stretched toward the distant mountains. 8-year-old Amy Williams stood at the edge of her family's farm, her blonde hair moving softly in the breeze as she watched colorful butterflies dance among the flowers. The settlement had been her home since she could remember, one of humanity's most successful colonies far from Earth. The settlement itself was a marvel of human engineering. Dome-shaped buildings with advanced climate control systems, surrounded by vast agricultural fields protected by weather shields. Nearly 5,000 people called this place home, all of them proud of what they had built over the past decade. Amy's father, Robert Williams, worked in the colony's engineering department, maintaining the systems that kept their new world habitable. Her mother, Linda, managed the agricultural drone network that tended to the crops. They were ordinary people living what seemed to be an ordinary life on an extraordinary world. That morning started like any other. Amy had finished her virtual learning sessions early and received permission to play in the monitored safe zone near their house. The colony's AI security system kept watch over all children in the play areas, and no one had any reason to fear. Humanity hadn't faced any serious threats in this sector for years. The peace treaty with the Crimson Dominion had held strong for nearly a decade. The alien empire had seemed content to maintain their borders, engaging only in trade and occasional diplomatic missions. No one expected them to break the peace, especially not in such a horrific way. The first warning came at 10:47 local time. The colony's sensors detected multiple ships entering the atmosphere, their energy signatures matching known Crimson Dominion vessels. The AI security system immediately broadcast alerts, but everything happened too fast. The raiders struck without warning or mercy. Their ships, painted in their signature dark red, swooped down from the clouds. They didn't target the colony's defenses first, as military doctrine would suggest. Instead, they began indiscriminate bombing of civilian areas. Robert Williams was in the middle of a maintenance check when the first explosions rocked the colony. His first thought was of his daughter. He ran toward the exit, his heart pounding as he tried to reach her through his communicator. The security feeds showed chaos. People running, buildings burning, and defense systems trying to activate against the unexpected assault. Linda Williams was closer to the fields when it happened. She saw the ships descending and ran toward the safe zone where Amy was playing. The distance seemed endless as explosions lit up the morning sky. The colony's emergency sirens wailed, their sound mixing with the chaos of the attack. Neither parent reached their daughter in time. The official report, filed hours later, was clinical in its description. Civilian casualty. Female, age 8, death by concussive force from proximity to enemy bombardment. But numbers and words couldn't capture the reality of what happened, how a child's life ended while she was watching butterflies on a peaceful morning. News of the attack spread across human space at light speed. Within hours, every colony, every station, and Earth itself knew about the Crimson Dominion's treachery. But it was the death of Amy Williams that caught humanity's attention. Security footage of her last moments, a small girl in a blue dress, looking up at the sky in wonder just before the explosion, became the symbol that united humanity in grief and rage. The Crimson Dominion had broken more than a peace treaty that day. They had broken an unwritten law that even the most hardened human criminals respected. You don't harm children. Throughout human history, the death of a child had sparked wars, toppled governments, and changed societies. The aliens, for all their intelligence, had failed to understand this fundamental aspect of human nature. As rescue teams worked to help the survivors and defense forces secured the colony, a message reached the Earth Defense Council. It contained only the security footage and a simple question: how do we respond? The answer would shake the galaxy. On Earth, fleet commanders began reviewing battle plans. In orbital shipyards, advanced warships powered up their engines. And in their distant empire, the Crimson Dominion had no idea that they had just awakened humanity's sleeping giant. They would learn soon enough. The Earth Defense Council chamber was silent as the security footage played on the massive screen. 20 of humanity's most powerful leaders watched the final moments of Amy Williams' life, their faces hard with contained anger. The room, located deep within the mountains of Switzerland, had seen many crises over the years, but this was different. Admiral James Stone stood before them, his gray uniform bearing the marks of someone who had fought in the last war. His voice was steady as he presented the evidence, but his hands gripped the podium tightly. The attack was not random, he said, pointing to a detailed tactical analysis. The Crimson Dominion ships specifically targeted civilian areas first. Their weapons were set to maximum yield, far more power than needed for any military target. They meant to kill civilians. They meant to kill children. The room's temperature seemed to drop as detailed scans appeared on the screen. The raids had been carefully planned, with the attackers knowing exactly when and where to strike for maximum civilian casualties. Fleet Commander Mary Thompson stood up from her seat at the council table. She was known throughout Earth's fleet for her brilliant tactical mind and unwavering determination. Her own children were close to Amy's age, and her voice carried the weight of both a mother's grief and a warrior's resolve. "I volunteer to lead the response fleet," she said, her words cutting through the silence. "We have ships ready. The new stealth systems are tested and combat ready. We can launch within 24 hours. The council members looked at each other. They all knew what she was proposing. Earth's latest warships were technological marvels, equipped with advanced AI systems and weapons that could strike with surgical precision. They had been built in secret, hidden from prying eyes. Now they would see their first combat. "Show them the fleet status," ordered the council president, an older woman whose calm voice betrayed none of the fury in her eyes. Holographic displays lit up around the room, showing Earth's hidden strength. 5 carrier groups, each led by a massive stealth dreadnought. Hundreds of smaller ships equipped with technology the Crimson Dominion didn't know existed. AI combat systems that could outthink any known alien battle computer. Intelligence reports show their supply lines are exposed. Commander Thompson continued, highlighting key points on the strategic display. "They don't expect us to strike back so quickly. They think we're still the same humans they signed a peace treaty with 10 years ago." Admiral Stone nodded in agreement. "They've forgotten what happened to the last empire that underestimated us, or perhaps they never knew. Their history books probably don't mention how humanity fights when protecting its children." The council members studied the battle plans. The proposed response was not just about revenge. It was about justice, and about sending a message to every species in the galaxy. Earth's fleet would strike with precision and power, targeting military installations while avoiding civilian casualties. They would show the difference between humanity's controlled fury and the Dominion's senseless brutality. "The Williams family has requested to make a statement," announced the council president. The screen changed to show Robert and Linda Williams, their faces marked by grief, but also determination. "We ask only one thing," Robert Williams said, his voice steady despite his pain. "Make sure no other parent has to feel what we're feeling. Make sure they never harm another child." The vote was unanimous. Within hours, Earth's most powerful fleet since the last war began to move. Ships hidden in asteroid fields powered up their engines. Crews were called to battle stations. Advanced weapon systems came online. Commander Thompson stood on the bridge of her flagship, the ESS Retribution, watching as her fleet assembled in high orbit. The massive ship, nearly invisible to normal sensors thanks to its stealth systems, hummed with power. Her crew worked with quiet efficiency, each person aware of what was at stake. "Send the order to all ships," she commanded, her voice carrying across the command network. "Operation Child's Shield is now active. For Amy." The response echoed across the fleet. "For Amy." In the darkness of space, humanity's warriors prepared for battle. The Crimson Dominion was about to learn a harsh lesson about human nature. and about the consequences of harming a child. The Crimson Dominion's outpost on Beta Station hung in space like a red jewel, its defense systems scanning for threats in visible space. The alien commanders inside felt secure, believing their position was unknown to human forces. They were wrong. Commander Thompson's fleet dropped out of stealth mode just 3,000 kilometers from the station. Point-blank range in space warfare. The EFS Retribution and its sister ships appeared as if by magic, their advanced stealth systems making their arrival complete surprise. "All ships, weapons free," Thompson ordered, her voice calm. "Remember your training. Precision strikes only. No civilian casualties." The first shots of humanity's response struck with surgical accuracy. Human eye targeting systems, far more advanced than anything the Dominion had seen, disabled the station's main weapons in seconds. Before the aliens could sound a general alarm, their communications array erupted in a silent explosion. Across 3 sectors of space, similar scenes played out as Earth's hidden fleet struck multiple targets simultaneously. The Dominion's leadership had expected perhaps a single revenge attack, not a coordinated assault that hit 20 of their military installations at once. On the bridge of the Retribution, tactical displays showed the battle unfolding exactly as planned. The new quantum computers processed combat data faster than human minds could follow, predicting and countering enemy moves before they happened. "Enemy vessels attempting to launch," reported Lieutenant Baker, his fingers dancing over the tactical console. "Their weapons are still cold." "Disable their engines," Thompson commanded. "Let's show them the difference between their brutality and our precision." Beam weapons sliced through space, hitting the Dominion ship's engine sections with perfect accuracy. Each shot disabled but didn't destroy, leaving the crews alive but helpless. The message was clear. Humanity could have killed them all, but chose not to. In the Dominion's Central Command, alerts flashed as reports flooded in from across their territory. Their military leaders, used to beam the aggressors, found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to know all their weaknesses. "Second wave, begin your approach," Thompson ordered. The next phase of ships appeared from stealth, their hulls gleaming in the starlight. These were the newest class of Earth warships, never before seen by alien eyes. The Dominion's response ships arrived to find their outpost already under human control. They charged in, weapons blazing, confident in their superior numbers. That confidence lasted exactly 30 seconds. Earth's ships moved with impossible grace, their AI systems coordinating maneuvers that organic pilots couldn't match. Defensive screens absorbed enemy fire, while precision shots disabled ship after ship. Not a single human vessel was lost. "Enemy fleet is standing down," Baker announced, pride evident in his voice. "They're signaling surrender." Thompson nodded, but her expression remained serious. This was just the beginning. A demonstration of power meant to send a message. The real battle was yet to come. In the captured station's command center, human Marines found something interesting. Tactical plans showing the Dominion had been preparing more attacks on human colonies. The raid that killed Amy Williams hadn't been a random act of violence. It had been a test, meant to gauge human response times and military readiness. "Send this to command," Thompson ordered, reviewing the captured data. "They need to know this was planned." The news spread quickly through the fleet. The anger that had been burning hot now turned cold and focused. This wasn't just about one child anymore. It was about preventing a planned genocide. Back on Earth, the Defense Council reviewed the battle reports with grim satisfaction. Every engagement had gone exactly as planned. No civilian casualties. Minimal enemy deaths. Maximum impact. "Send word to the Dominion leadership," the Council President ordered. "Tell them this is just the beginning. Tell them what happens when you harm our children." As the message was transmitted, more Earth ships emerged from their hidden shipyards. The Dominion was about to learn that they had not merely awakened a sleeping giant. They had roused a technological superior force that had been holding back its true power for years. The real war was about to begin. The Grand Marshal of the Crimson Dominion stared at the holographic display with disbelief. In just 1 week, humans had captured or destroyed 30 military bases. His mighty empire, which had ruled this sector of space for centuries, was being systematically dismantled by an enemy they had gravely underestimated. "Impossible," he muttered, his red-scaled hands clenching into fists. Their technology was nothing like this 10 years ago. Nothing. Another alert flashed across the screen. 3 more supply bases had just gone dark. The humans weren't just winning. They were doing it without taking losses. Not a single human ship had been destroyed. While the Dominion's finest vessels hung dead in space, their crews captured but unharmed. On the bridge of the EFS Retribution, Commander Thompson reviewed the latest battle data. Her fleet's AI systems had mapped the entire Dominion defense network, finding weaknesses that even the aliens didn't know existed. "Their main fleet is gathering at Fortress World 7, Lieutenant Baker reported. "They're pulling ships from every surviving base. It looks like they're preparing for a final stand." Thompson nodded, studying the tactical display. The Dominion was finally acting like they understood the true danger they faced. But it was too late. "All ships, prepare for Phase 4, she ordered. "Let's show them what Earth's best can really do." The human fleet moved forward, their stealth systems making them invisible to conventional sensors. The new quantum drives, kept secret for years, allowed them to cross vast distances in moments. The Dominion's early warning systems were useless against technology they couldn't even detect. In their Grand Council chamber, the Dominion leadership argued among themselves. Some wanted to surrender, having seen the futility of fighting against superior technology. Others insisted on fighting to the last ship, their pride unable to accept defeat by a species they had considered inferior. "The humans are nothing," shouted one general, pounding his fist on the table. "They just got lucky with new weapons. We can still." His words were cut short as the chamber's lights flickered. On every screen, on every display, the same image appeared. Amy Williams, the young girl whose death had started this war. The humans had hacked their entire network. Commander Thompson's voice filled the room, calm but carrying an edge of steel. "You didn't just kill a child. You killed humanity's mercy. Look around you. See how easily we breached your defenses. Understand that every moment you continue to resist, you prove why you must be stopped." The Dominion leaders watched in horror as their supposedly unbreakable security systems fell one by one. Human AI systems sliced through their best cyber defenses like they weren't even there. Back in Earth space, the Defense Council received constant updates. The plan was working perfectly. The Dominion's allies, seeing the complete superiority of human technology, began withdrawing their support. No one wanted to stand against a power that could so easily defeat the mighty Crimson Dominion. "Their largest shipyard is attempting to launch their reserve fleet," Baker reported to Thompson. "Shall we disable them?" Thompson smiled. "Let them launch. It's time they saw what our ships can do in a real battle." The reserve fleet of the Dominion, 300 warships strong, moved to engage the much smaller human force. They still didn't understand that numbers meant nothing against Earth's technological advantage. What followed wasn't really a battle. It was a demonstration. Human ships danced through enemy formation, their AI systems predicting and countering every move. Advanced weapons struck with precision, disabling ships without destroying them. In 20 minutes, the entire reserve fleet hung powerless in space. "Send the message," Thompson ordered. "Tell them what happens next if they continue to resist." As the human fleet pressed deeper into Dominion space, the alien leaders finally began to understand their mistake. They hadn't just killed a human child. They had given humanity's warriors a reason to stop holding back. Now they would face the full might of Earth's advanced technology, wielded by people who remembered exactly why they were fighting. The real question was, would there be anything left of the Crimson Dominion when humanity was done? The Crimson Dominion's primary military installation, the Crimson Fortress, floated in space like a massive red star, Built into an asteroid 20 kilometers wide, it had never fallen in its 1,000-year history, until today. Commander Thompson stood on the Retribution's bridge, watching as the combined Earth fleet moved into position. 500 ships, representing humanity's full military might, prepared for the decisive battle. On her command screen, a small photo of Amy Williams reminded everyone why they fought. "All ships report ready," Lieutenant Baker announced. "The Dominion has activated all their defense systems. They've gathered everything they have left for this fight." Thompson nodded. "Send the standard warning. Give them one chance to surrender." The message was simple. "In the name of Earth and the memory of Amy Williams, stand down and face justice." The Dominion's response came in the form of plasma fire. Thousands of defense turrets opened up, filling space with deadly energy. In previous wars, such a barrage would have destroyed any attacking fleet. But this was not a previous war. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Phoenix," Thompson ordered. "Show them why you don't harm Earth's children." The human fleet split into perfect formation, their movements synchronized by quantum AI systems. The Retribution led from the center, its advanced shields absorbing enemy fire without effort. Smaller ships moved like dancers through the barrage, each one following paths calculated to be mathematically perfect. Inside the fortress, Dominion commanders watched in horror as their best weapons proved useless. The humans weren't just advancing. They were doing it with a precision that seemed impossible. "Target their main reactor," Thompson commanded. "Disable, don't destroy. Remember, we want prisoners to stand trial." Human beam weapons, powered by technology kept hidden for years, cut through the fortress's shields like they weren't there. Each shot hit with surgical precision, disabling weapons and defensive systems while avoiding areas with civilian populations. "Enemy ships launching from hidden bays," Baker reported. 300 vessels, at least. Thompson allowed herself a small smile. "Just as planned. All ships, engage according to Simulation Delta 7. What followed would be studied in military academies for centuries. The human fleet moved as one organism, guided by AI systems that could process combat data faster than thought. Each ship knew exactly where to be and when to be there. Each shot was calculated to disable, not destroy. The Dominion ships, despite their superior numbers, found themselves trapped in a dance of death they couldn't escape. Their weapons couldn't hit the human vessels. Their shields couldn't stop the human attacks. Their best tactical computers couldn't predict what the humans would do next. "Main reactor containment failing," Baker announced. "They're losing power to their primary weapons." Thompson opened a channel to all ships. "Phase 2, begin. Marines, prepare for boarding." From the larger human ships, boarding craft launched in perfect sequence. Each one carried soldiers in powered armor that made the Dominion's best personal shields look primitive. They hit multiple entry points simultaneously, their quantum breaching charges cutting through hull metal like paper. The Crimson Fortress, pride of an empire that had lasted a millennium, fell in less than 2 hours. Not a single human life was lost. The Dominion's casualties were minimal, exactly as planned. In the fortress's main control room, Thompson personally accepted the surrender of the Dominion's military commander. The alien leader, his red scales pale with shock, couldn't meet her eyes. "Why?" he asked. "You could have destroyed us completely. Why show mercy?" Thompson showed him the picture of Amy Williams. "Because this is how humans fight. We could have killed everyone here. We chose not to. That's the difference between us. You killed a child to show strength. We captured your strongest fortress while keeping your people alive, to show justice." As human Marines secured the fortress, Thompson sent the victory message to Earth. The Crimson Dominion's military backbone was broken. Its leaders were in custody or fleeing, and humanity had proven itself to be not just technologically superior, but morally superior as well. The war was nearly over. Justice was coming. Deep in the shadows of an abandoned mining colony, the remaining leaders of the Crimson Dominion huddled in what they thought was a secure bunker. Grand Marshal Redclaw, the mastermind behind the attack that killed Amy Williams, stared at emergency broadcasts showing his empire crumbling. "They can't find us here," he assured the others, his voice shaking despite his attempts to sound confident. "This bunker is shielded. No sensors can penetrate." The lights suddenly went out. When they came back on, holographic projections filled the room. Every wall showed the same image. Security footage of a small human girl watching butterflies moments before her death. Commander Thompson's voice filled the chamber. "Did you think you could hide from us?" The bunker's supposedly unbreakable door slid open. Human Marines in advanced power armor walked in, their movements precise and controlled. Behind them came Thompson herself, carrying a tablet showing a live feed to the Earth Defense Council. "Grand Marshal Redclaw," she said, her voice steady. "You are under arrest for war crimes, specifically the planned murder of civilian children. You will face trial before an interstellar court." One of Redclaw's guards reached for a weapon. Before his hand was halfway there, he found himself pinned to the wall by a stasis field. The humans' technology made the Dominion's best weapons look like toys. "How?" Redclaw demanded. "How did you find us?" Thompson allowed herself a small, cold smile. "We've been watching you since the moment you fled the fortress. Our AI systems tracked every ship, every transmission, every energy signature. You never had a chance to escape." Across Dominion space, similar scenes played out. Earth's intelligence network, hidden for years behind a facade of limited technology, activated in full. Hidden agents emerged from deep cover. Quantum scanners found every hiding place. Advanced AI systems cracked every code. Back on Earth, Robert and Linda Williams watched the arrests through a secure feed. They sat quietly, holding hands, as the people responsible for their daughter's death were brought to justice one by one. "We found the tactical officer who ordered the specific strike on the colony," Lieutenant Baker reported to Thompson. "He was hiding in a luxury resort on the pleasure world of New Vegas. He's in custody now." The Dominion's allies, watching these events unfold, scrambled to distance themselves from their former friends. They sent messages to Earth, pledging cooperation and offering evidence against Dominion leaders. None of them wanted to face the technological giant that had awoken. In the Retribution's secure holding cells, Redclaw and his commanders got their first look at the true extent of human capabilities. The ship's AI showed them detailed records of their own activities, surveillance that had been going on for years. "We knew about your planned attacks," Thompson told them during initial questioning. "We could have stopped you before you killed Amy. We didn't because we believed in peace, believed you would keep the treaty. That was our mistake. One we won't make again." The evidence was overwhelming. The attack on the colony hadn't been a random act of cruelty. It had been a calculated first strike in a planned war of extinction against humanity. The Dominion had thought humans weak because they sought peace. They had never understood that peace was a choice, not a weakness. As the last Dominion leaders were rounded up, the Earth Defense Council prepared for the trials. They would be public, broadcast across known space. Every species would see the evidence, understand the justice of human actions, and witness the consequences of harming human children. "Send the final message," Thompson ordered, standing on her bridge one last time before heading back to Earth. On every planet, every station, every ship in known space, screens lit up with the same transmission. An image of Amy Williams, followed by footage of the Dominion's leaders in custody, and a simple message. "Let this be remembered. Humanity fights with precision, not cruelty. We seek justice, not vengeance, but harm our children, and you will face the full measure of our power. This is our promise to the galaxy." The message needed no signature. The whole galaxy now knew exactly what humanity was capable of when pushed too far. The Great Hall of the Interstellar Court of Justice was filled to capacity. Representatives from 50 alien species watched as the trial of the century reached its conclusion. At the center of the room, Behind force fields that made their red scales look dim, stood the former leaders of the Crimson Dominion. Grand Marshal Redclaw and his commanders had sat through 3 weeks of devastating evidence. They had watched recordings of their own planning sessions, where they had coldly discussed killing human children. Their own secret documents had revealed their belief that such brutality would show their strength. Instead, it had led to their complete defeat. Commander Thompson sat with the Williams family in the front row. Robert and Linda Williams had insisted on attending every day of the trial, watching justice unfold for their daughter Amy. Behind them sat hundreds of human military personnel who had participated in the response fleet's operations. The Chief Justice, a respected neutral alien from the Galactic Council, stood to deliver the verdict. The room fell silent. In the history of this court, the Chief Justice began, "We have seen many conflicts, many crimes, many acts of warfare. But the deliberate targeting of children as a military strategy represents a special kind of evil. The evidence is absolutely clear." One by one, the charges were read. The verdict for each was the same: guilty. The sentence was equally clear. The Dominion's leaders would spend the rest of their lives in maximum security prison facilities, their empire dismantled, their military disbanded. But Earth had one more surprise for the galaxy. Robert Williams stood up, asking permission to address the court. The Chief Justice nodded, and the grieving father walked to the center of the room. "My daughter Amy loved butterflies," he said, his voice steady. "She loved life. We could respond to her death with hatred, demand these creatures be executed. Instead, we choose to honor her memory differently." Linda Williams joined her husband, carrying a data crystal. "The Earth Defense Council has approved our proposal. The former territories of the Crimson Dominion will be transformed. Where they built weapons, we will build schools. Where they planned war, we will create gardens." Commander Thompson stepped forward, activating a holographic display. It showed plans for a new kind of space station, one dedicated to peaceful cooperation between species, with a special focus on protecting children of all races. "The Amy Williams Memorial Station will be built where their fortress once stood," Thompson announced. "It will serve as both a remembrance and a promise. Every species who wishes to join in this initiative is welcome." The gathered ambassadors watched in amazement as the humans, who had just demonstrated their overwhelming military superiority, now showed even greater strength through mercy and wisdom. Across what had been Dominion space, change was already beginning. Earth ships, their weapons now sealed, helped distribute aid to worlds that had suffered under Dominion rule. The advanced technology that had won the war was now being used to heal and build. Back on Colony World Eden, where it had all started, something special was taking shape. In the field where Amy Williams had watched her last butterflies, a memorial garden was growing. But this was no ordinary garden. It featured plants from 100 worlds, creating a paradise for butterflies from across the galaxy. The Earth Defense Council's final report on the conflict was brief, but powerful. "The Crimson Dominion fell not because we were stronger, but because we remained true to our principles even in victory. They thought killing a child would show their power. Instead, it revealed our strength. The strength to fight with precision, to win with mercy, and to transform victory into peace." As ships from dozens of species gathered for the opening of the memorial station, the Williams family stood with Commander Thompson, watching butterflies dance in the station's central garden. Above them, a plaque carried a simple message in all known languages: "In memory of Amy Williams, and all children lost to violence. May this place stand as a reminder that true strength lies not in the ability to take life, but in the wisdom to preserve it. Earth will always stand ready to protect the innocent." The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity had shown both its power and its heart, and somewhere, perhaps, a little girl was smiling at the butterflies her memory had brought to the stars.